possible. This event, organized by Raj Square Charity Foundation and MIT Square London, sponsored by Fasta Pizza, Millennium, Alumaigal, Bharati Academy, Vestar Estate, Bismillah Concrete Private Limited, Diya Organics and Nutra.
Challenge, but nevertheless, thank you so much for introducing me so well. Good morning, everyone. And I will start with the students present here. It's not easy to come and sit in an auditorium on a Saturday morning, so thank you so much for being here to encourage all your gurus and teachers. Respected dignitaries of the dais, thank you, Bhuvaneshwari, for inviting me today, and thank you, my former colleague, Haima, who was instrumental in bringing me here. Sometimes on a Saturday morning, you feel, okay, do I want to spend a weekend like this? But I think after hearing all of the speeches before me and after hearing you, Bhuvaneshwari, and what Mithilesh is doing in the UK, for the UK and for building India-UK relations, I think there cannot be a better way to spend my morning here with all you wonderful people, and also I think with all the other speakers who are going to be here, Uday Kumar as well as Uma and everybody else. So thank you so much for having me here. I've been asked to speak on empowering global citizens, looking at globalization of education in a connected world. I think first of all, big congratulations to all the educators and teachers who are going to receive the awards today. It's not easy to do your job, it's very difficult, especially amidst challenging times, and with the advent of technology, it becomes really hard. Yeah, I think we should give a big round of applause to the educators. Today we are celebrating the tireless efforts of teachers worldwide, and of course people in the room as well, who shape young minds and inspire future generations. As we mark the occasion of International Teachers' Day, I recall one of my most favorite educators of all time, the late Sir Ken Robinson, who said, "Teaching is not a profession. Teaching is not a profession. It is a vocation. It is a calling to inspire, to motivate and to transform lives." And that's exactly what you've all been doing. And without students, I think teachers don't exist. And without teachers, I don't think we'll get good students. So I think it's a very beautiful symbiotic relationship that the audience in this room shares. And for that, and to be present as part of this wonderful event is a privilege and an honor. So thank you, ma'am, for inviting me. I'd now like to reflect on the transformative power of globalization in education. And I think we sit in an institution, the MGR Janaki College of Arts and Science, which also has terrific collaborations with many countries in the world, as well as, I think, giving international exposure by way of this partnership with your organization to be able to help students transcend boundaries, to work across countries, be it the UK or other countries as well. What does it mean? What does globalization mean to each one of us in this room? The world has become increasingly interconnected. Technology has dissolved boundaries, but it's also creating a lot of challenges. Migration, economic shifts have created a very complex, globalized world. We experienced that during the pandemic and COVID especially. And for that, education in each one of us, whether we are a student or a teacher or a learner or a lifelong learner, all of us must adapt ourselves to the change in technology, otherwise we will get left behind. What are some of the key trends in education today? Just to make it a little interactive, the students want to tell me one response from students. What do you think is the big trend in education today? Don't be quiet, otherwise this keynote will go on forever. Anybody from the audience, what is the big trend today in education? Come on. Technology, fantastic. One more? Online, yeah. I mean, when you look at it, it's no longer a person in the classroom. Gone are those days where I remember my professor telling me in college that, Janaka, please decide whether you want to be a sage on the stage, giving, gyan like this, or whether you want to be a guide on the side. I think today teachers have to be guide on the sides, because young students really don't need you to go and teach an the classroom because they have access to information literally in the palm of their hands. So students here will agree that you learn more from your mobile phone than actually from a lecture in the classroom. So the job of the teacher becomes that much more difficult to be able to hold your attention, to be able to actually say things which are relevant, to help you critically think and to help you problem solve, which is what we call 21st century skills, right? So some of the trends are, everybody's talking about internationalization in curriculum, especially with the National Education Policy, which got released in 2020. A lot of policymakers and practitioners, and we have Mr. Uday Kumar in the audience as well, who works with governments, who advises a lot of industry bodies as well as academic institutions. You will know, sir, that internationalization is like a big buzzword, but it's not easy. It's not very simple. Thanks to organizations like yours, MIT Square London, and also your charitable organization, maybe it's becoming a little bit easier for the student to be able to understand what internationalization and globalization really mean. And you said online and blended learning. Yes, that's a big trend. Mobility and exchange programs. And Haima has worked with us in the British Council before. She knows how important it is for student mobility, and not just student mobility, but also for faculty exchanges and mobility. That's a big trend. And also big focus on 21st century skills. The top ones being critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, communication, etc. And what are the benefits? What are the key benefits of internationalization and globalization? Somebody earlier spoke about, I think the person who introduced the event spoke about jobs, and one of the lines that you said, that was said in your introduction was about stand in India and also stand free. Yeah, so I think startup India and stand in India. So I think entrepreneurship is like a big, earlier we never used to think of entrepreneurship as a big success model, but now with the numbers of startups, Karnataka of course tops the list in terms of startups, Tamil Nadu comes a very close second. So with the advent of startups and with the advent of a lot of companies and industry bodies and especially private equity funders wanting to fund cutting edge startups, so that's a huge opportunity. It doesn't matter whether you're studying arts, science, the liberal arts, commerce, business or engineering, you could do STEM or non-STEM courses. Still, I think the sort of intersection between the science and the non-science is really an exciting space for the startup world. So I hope many students here will look at not just being job seekers, but also job givers. So globalization helps in that as well. I think it also increases and augments the quality of education because you have your own syllabus, your own curriculum in your institution, in academic universities in India. But the moment you either do a training program or a dual degree program, or you just do 1 week of internship, I think we were speaking in the, just before we arrived, we were having a quick conversation, and the principal of Pratiksha College was saying that internships is going to be a big game changer. And if you read up the recent UGC regulations, internship is a key factor which the government of India is now promoting to say that while you're studying, we always used to do it as part of our master's dissertation, we used to go and sort of do like a project or a thesis, but beyond that, can we intern in really good companies which will increase our global competitiveness and our employability. So I think that's another big benefit of internationalization and globalization. It doesn't come with its fair amount of challenges. Globalization also has a big challenge. What is the topmost challenge in this? Come on. Anybody? What are some of the challenges in globalization? Think of one challenge that you experienced while you were trying to form an international partnership. Culture, excellent. Anybody else? Students. Why are students so silent? I've never come to an auditorium where students are so well behaved. Language. Cultural and linguistic diversity becomes a huge challenge. India is a hyper-linguistic country. We have so many languages, and then although we kind of say that English is the bridge language, or it's a language that helps us conduct business, cultural diversity and linguistic diversity all sometimes prevents us from forming those partnerships. So I think that's one key challenge. Teacher training and development. We have so many educators. If we are really not trained to form international partnerships, if we don't have guidance, it becomes very hard to forge partnerships, leave alone two countries, but even between two institutions. How do we address some of these challenges? And I want to give you three quick examples from the British Council's work, what we've been doing in order to improve and augment globalization, and also to help universities form these really critical international partnerships. So we run a program called the Going Global Partnerships Program. Through that program, we provide grant funding to colleges and universities, not really to colleges, but to universities in India who want to create international collaboration with the UK. And I think amongst the speakers, you have a lot of speakers whose children are in the UK, so it's a very strong UK alumni network. So you can take advantage of those networks to explore that. The other way to do it is through scholarships. And you all may be aware, how many of you in this room are aware of British Council scholarships? Can I see the show of hands? How many of you know about the British Council scholarships? Zero hands. We're not doing our job well. Okay. So the British Council has a slew of scholarships for the arts, for engineering, for you to do a completely fully funded master's program in the UK. Helping globalization and to help institutions globalize is to get individual students to collaborate with each other. So the Women in STEM scholarships, I know I'm speaking in Arts and Science College, but our STEM scholarships, because you know that what does STEM stand for? Science, technology, engineering and mathematics. A lot of students in India pursue engineering, but especially women tend to get left behind because we do go through something called the leaky pipeline. So there is marriage, there is a break in education, there's a break in career, then there's childbearing responsibilities if you do decide to have children. So that creates childbearing and child rearing, yes. Okay, bearing is okay, child-bearing responsibilities which prevent you from actually making a full-fledged career. So in order to help women achieve their STEM goals, and also I think to be able to stop that attrition of women in STEM, we do provide scholarships, especially for women. And some of the partnership areas that we're looking at, whether you're a science student or an arts student, research and innovation, education and training, student mobility is a big area, like I already said, entrepreneurship and employability, and institutional development. So I'd really love to see one application from the NGR Arts and Sciences College. Since we are speaking here, it'll be lovely. Please do visit us and we can share more information about Haima will do that. Okay, we've got a commitment here. That's great. Fantastic. The last way, the third point to look at how do you build these international collaboration, you might have all heard of this acronym called TNE. What does that stand for? Transnational Education. So transnational education is when you feel that I cannot afford a study abroad program, I can't afford to, and most of us can't because the costs are high. The UK is fairly reasonable when you compare it to other countries. Also the UK has a lot of scholarship opportunities. But when you are, TNE actually enables students who are studying in India, you'll be able to access international qualification and education in your home country, in India, and you can do it through partnerships between institutions. So far, India has a very small number of TNE partnerships, and one of the remits of the British Council is to try and increase this number, because the moment two countries collaborate, and you have many speakers who allude to this comment of mine to say that your research citation weightage goes up. The moment you collaborate, I mean not necessarily UK, but if you collaborate with a professor or academic in the US or in one of the EU countries or with the UK, the moment you do that, the quality of your research is way beyond what it will be if you sat in your own sort of small room and your university doing that research. So that's one of the things that we're trying to consciously do to improve TNE partnerships to increase globalization. So there are lots of examples of TNE, and one Chennai example, I think Anna University has some brilliant partnerships with universities in the UK. IIT Madras and University of Birmingham recently signed an agreement for a dual degree program in data science. So I think these are really good examples, and we'd love to invite more and more public universities. I think the private ones and the central ones often do it because they have the means, they have the money, they also have the academic credibility to do it, but we'd love to help state universities internationalize, and Tamil Nadu is a really good place that way. You are in a good place, and like Bhuvneshwari said, it's like your second home. Welcome to Chennai. But I think Tamil Nadu has the unique distinction of having 22 or 23 of the top NIRF ranked institutions in your state. So I think that's like really good, and it's fantastic, and your own university, your own college is ranked very high for the arts and sciences. So that's also another way. What is the future of education? I mean, we spoke about globalization, we spoke about some of the benefits, we spoke about some of the challenges, we spoke about what could be possible solutions through the Bridge Council lens for UK and India and UK and Tamil Nadu to collaborate. But what do you think is the future of education? And we're all, the audience mostly comprises students who are the future generation. So to thrive in a globalized world, I think there are 2 or 3 things that we might want to take home with us. So you spoke about culture. I think fostering and encouraging cultural competence, to take the time to listen to each other, to embrace a new culture, to learn about it, learn a new language. I mean, I think by default we speak our home language, whatever it is, whether it's Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Hindi, whatever it is, and then we kind of speak English because it's our language of instruction. But outside of that, try and learn another language. It will open your minds to a completely new culture. So develop that cultural competence. Develop adaptability and resilience. We found that resilience was one of the top. If you Google during COVID, what is the top human quality that people sort of had to get through COVID? The top one was resilience, right? So I think practice a lot of resilience. It can be practiced. It can be learned. We have educators in the audience. You said you were a life coach, so you said you were a life coach. Sorry, the other Mrs. Jalabhishan. So I think you have so many good resource people in the audience to learn resilience, to practice it. Students, educators alike, I think practice and foster resilience. Leverage technology. We said that technology is a boom, but it's also a bane, because sometimes we're all addicted to Instagram reels in the night. Until 1 a.m. we're literally scrolling. And now there's a new thing that says stop scrolling, but then it's another reel that sort of gets you hooked. So I think stop scrolling, be mindful about technology and how you use it, and use it to enable your education, enable your research, enable your thinking, learn about new things. I think Instagram is fantastic, reels are great, provided you use it in the right way. Encourage collaboration and think about problem solving in a very different way. I think that's one of the skills we all need to develop. And there is no I've learned the critical 21st century skills. I think it's a lifelong learning process. So be open to learning. There's something called life-wide learning and lifelong learning. Practice both. It will stand you in good stead. And again, be a little mindful and conscious about, we all speak about the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, but I think talking about the goals is one thing, but actively doing something to be able to solve some of these global challenges, the biggest ones being climate change and sustainability. I think about that. It's great to think about these things, and young people like yourselves will play a huge role besides teachers and educators. I just want to sort of talk 2 lines about the UNESCO's Global Education 2030 Agenda. And I don't know how many of you in this room have read it or will go read. I think you should go and read it if you haven't read it. The agenda's key objective is inclusive education. And I think through your charities, you're exactly doing that. So we're grateful to you, Bhuvaneshwari, that Raj Square Charities is doing that. But I think inclusive education is very, very important to include all parts of the community, all genders. And it's great that you have the Women's Award event, which has an award for transgender communities. We're very delighted that you're doing that, and please continue to do that. And I hope you'll invite us to that too. So that would be great. So I think inclusive education, equitable education, right? So we have in India the Right to Education Act, but how many institutions actually diligently follow that? So I think making education affordable, accessible, and equitable is very important. And through globalization, you can actually break down those boundaries and do well. Globalization improves quality education, so I think that is another important takeaway for us. And again, practice a lot of lifelong learning so that we can all be learners and not sort of say that I know it all. The moment you say I know it all, I think that's when our downfall starts. So I think we have so much to learn from young people. I think one of the ways that I keep abreast of technology, of music, of what's trending, of what's in vogue, what's not in vogue, what's very woke, is from my children. So I think we have so much to learn from our children and from our youngsters. So sometimes we feel that, we're constantly telling our children that, you should excel in this, you should do this. But I think children and students bring a unique perspective to everything. So I think teachers and educators, one takeaway for us is, let's continue to learn from our younger generations as well. What is the role of the teacher in this? I think we've spoken a lot about it. So I think in conclusion, because this meeting is for educators and to give out awards, and we're lucky to have so many students here who probably are thinking, when is this going to get over? do every day, and some of you who will receive the awards have probably done it better than the rest of us, so congratulations. I think for you the role is to empower global citizens, empower your students, and really move away from being a sage on the stage to being a guide on the side and to be a friend to your students, because I think that works with students in terms of teaching and learning. And I think address pressing global issues in your classroom. Doesn't matter if you're teaching arts, doesn't matter if you're teaching history or geography or commerce or business or engineering. I think the problems are all the same across the world. Whether you look at UK, the United States or European Union or India or the ASEAN countries, I think climate change is a universal problem. Environment is a universal challenge. So I think discuss these issues with your young students. Do something outside of your curriculum to be able to get students to think about these real issues that we have to solve real through. Maybe the next big startup initiative is sitting in this room. So it will be great if you help your students think through that and not just restrict it to your subject matter in the classroom. I want to conclude, and maybe I can see people smiling, I want to conclude by saying that the best teachers are those who show you where to look. The best teachers, and I hope you have those teachers with you today, I'm sure you do, are those who show you where to look, but don't tell you what to see. And the greatest sign for success for a teacher is not in how much the students are learning, but how much they care. So I think for me, the big success of teaching and creating this globalized environment for education is to teach your students how to care. So thank you all for your dedication to education, everybody in this room. I think students, teachers alike, and the organizers. Together, let's shape a brighter, a more connected world of curious and autonomous learners. Dr. Kalam, I volunteered for Dr. Kalam's lead education, and one of the things that he said in the Rajbhavan in Chennai stuck with me. He says, you should not create learners, you should create autonomous learners. Autonomous learners are learners who learn by themselves, and students today, you have the ability to learn by yourselves, because everything is in that small device which you hold in the palm of your hand, but treat it responsibly. So let's shape together a world of curious and autonomous learners, and most of all, as educators, as people who work in industry, academia, wherever you work, I think let's inspire a generation of empathetic young people who actually care. Thank you all very much.
Honored to be on this stage. By God's grace, my colleague Sivakumar wanted me to come for the function. I really enjoyed the panel discussion. I'm in the education line for the past more than 60 years. I'm a student of Engineering College, 1965 Triple branch. So I'm running an engineering college by the name Dhanulakshmi College of Engineering. Sorry for my expression about the AI. AI is really good, but we cannot avoid it as analysts say. Now, one thing I want to tell my dear students, we are getting a lot of opportunities to go fast. But at the same time, we are losing much more than that. In the COVID period, we didn't have that contact classes. Everything went on online. And after the online, they want to have only online. They don't want to come to the class. Because when they come to the class, they have to sit in the class and then listen to the professors. Whereas in the online, you can lie down on the bed and then listen, learn the lesson. So it has become very, very easy. But after that, we are losing a lot of things. As I said earlier, we started losing memory. We started losing the function of all the parts of the body. And after the COVID, when they conducted the test, the people said they are not going to write. They are not going to hold the pen or pencil because for the past year they lost how to hold the pen and write. And now still I am seeing that the handwriting which was good earlier, now they lost the handwriting. Because they don't know how to hold the pen, start writing. Now similarly, the book reading is going off. Please understand, whether you read from the cell phone or whatnot, reading the message from the cell phone is not good. As a professor, I am telling you, whatever you read from the cell phone or from the computer, you are going to lose your eye power. Reading the text is very, very important. And therefore, நீ என்னதான் படித்தாலும் புக்கை படிக்கிற மாதிரி வரைய வராது. ஸ்க்ரீனில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ரொம்ப சின்ன சின்ன எழுத்தாக இருக்கும், கண்ணு போயிடும். But whereas when you start reading the text from the book, that is the very valuable one. Now I really thank that MIT staff for bringing magazine on ஆளுமைங்க பேரே சூப்பராக இருக்கு. நீங்கள் ஆளுமைன்னா இந்த புக்கை படித்து ஆகணும். And there is a lot of information regarding the education. Another my humble request to all the students, have the habit of reading. எங்கள் காலேஜில் வந்து நாங்கள் என்ன பண்ணோம்னா, we ask them to read the book. We give the book to them from the book bank or from the library. Compulsory they have to read the book. We give assignment from the book only, so that they can compulsory go to the book. So as Madam said, I want to be the first subscriber party. Madam, I will be the first buyer for this magazine.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And it's a good spirit. Sir is buying and subscribing our magazine, and we want every one of you to subscribe and come up with your institution programs and your professors' writings and your students' writings in our magazine, so that everyone are aware what is the program doing.
எங்கள் கேரக்டர்ஸுக்கே எல்லாத்தையும் நாங்கள் ஃபஸ்ட்டாக இருக்கணும்னு நினைப்போம். அதனால் புக்கு வாங்கிறது நாங்கள் தான் ஃபஸ்ட்டு. ஸோ யூ ஆர் கோயிங் டு பை யுவர் மேகசின் த ஃபஸ்ட் டைம்.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think it's 12:30, so I will be extremely quick, not take up too much of your time. I would like to pass on my respects to the people on stage. The panel discussion was quite interesting. I think it covered a lot of areas of discussion. There's a reason why we are here today. I don't know why you all are clapping, because this is not something that's really the happiest news. We've spoken about India being number one in several fields, in achieving a lot, people from India achieving a lot, but we are also number one in several dubious specialties. And unfortunately this includes heart disease, cancers, respiratory illnesses. These are things that what we call broadly non-communicable diseases, and we have seen as a part of Apollo hospitals that this is caused largely by lifestyle changes. As Sir was talking about the ill effects of today's world and the chase for things that are easy, as India has grown and has become a powerful force in many fields, with the advent of technology and a lot of the fun things, we've also acquired a lot of the unfortunate side effects or consequences. These are things that we can change only through two ways, which is early detection or a change in lifestyle itself. And this is something that the Apollo Shine Foundation is attempting to do. To crystallize this into actual efforts, what we do is we run clinics in schools and colleges. We also do health checkups for students in schools and colleges. We look at the data from these two and we try and understand the profile of each different college and thereafter work on interventions that will help connect the dots between choices and consequences. Right, this is a simple thing that we do and we've been doing it for the last 9 years now. We are in about 120 schools and colleges across India, largely in the south because we are from Chennai. This is something that we cannot do on our own. There are more than 4,500 schools alone in Tamil Nadu, and I don't even know the number of colleges. So it is with great gratitude and humility that I thank the organizers for reaching out to us to partner with us in this initiative to help take Apollo Shine into more colleges and schools across the country. Yeah. Thank you so much and it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining us today. So, ஆளுமைகள் அப்படின்ற ஒரு மேகசின் வந்து இப்போ ரிலீஸ் ஆயிடுச்சு. ஸோ we also have யூடியூப் சேனல். ஸோ அதுலேயும் வந்து நீங்கள் வாட்ச் பண்ணலாம். ஸோ அதில் பேசிக்காக வந்து லீடர்ஸோட மோட்டிவேஷனல் ஸ்பீச், ஸோ அவங்க என்னெல்லாம் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க அப்படின்றத நம்ம பார்க்கும்போது அது நமக்கும் இன்ஸ்பிரேஷனாக இருக்கும் and we can also use it in our future. So you can also watch YouTube channel and please subscribe ஆளுமைகள்.